Hello friends, good evening. I am updating Act 3 also. Armado enters here with his page Moth. Costard is also here. We see them in this Act 3 opening talking about some love letter and Armado wishing to take the help of his page Moth and Costard. Costard agrees to it, and it is a risky thing because Costard can be punished. Now Costard puts a condition that I should be acquitted and I will deliver it, and they set the remuneration also, coin in their currency. So both the parties agree and they decide that Armado is going to share his personal affections for Jaquenta, and because he cannot through a letter and because he cannot do it himself because he is on an official duty, so he takes the help of Costard and Moth. Now Moth says that Armado loves Jaquenta and there is nothing we can do to change it. So Armado sends Moth that you make sure everything happens swiftly and smoothly. Use all the cleverness and intelligence to accomplish the task. So that's how the act is progressing. Moth leaves, listening to Armado's all the compliments. Now Costard comically misunderstands the term remuneration as referring to a particular kind of coin rather than payment in general. What happens, as we have seen that there is constant failure of language shown here to create the effect of comedy. So he is communicating in his thoughts, and Armado has entrusted this very important task of conveying his love feelings for Jaquenta through him. He is the only source, and that love letter is the only source. Then we see Costard is in his thoughts, and that's how we stop here because he's thinking about the remuneration. 1 penny, I will give you remuneration. Why it carries it? Remuneration, why it is fairer name than French crown. I will never buy and sell out of this world. Like I've explained, this happens. Then we have a pause, scene changes, Biron enters. Now Biron and Costard starts conversing. Biron says that Biron enters and Costard asks him how much remuneration is worth. Biron questions Costard that please help me with something. Now Costard agrees to help him also. So we see that we observe Costard is very helpful. He is agreeing to everybody who is asking him to help them. Biron says that Rosalind is his love interest, and can he do the favor of delivering a letter to Rosalind on his behalf? So we see that Costard is doing the same job for both of them, and he has agreed to do the same job for both Biron and Armado. Now what happens? Biron also offers some money as a remuneration to be paid to the costard, to costard, and he says that it will be your reward. I will give you some money and that will be your reward. Please do me this work. Now costard can not hear properly and he understands reward as a garden. There is a term that he uses, GUERDON, and he hears this word, mishears this word as garden. He says that, and he reacts to that, and then costard says that wow, and he leaves excitedly. Now we see that Biron is only there, and Biron is saying that I was the one who never wanted to fall in love. We see him talking, and he is there on the stage, and we see him meditating and talking, and he says that I was somebody who was against love and never wanted to fall in love. But today the situation is different, because Cupid, I am under the effect of the Cupid, and I cannot do anything about it. I am falling in love with Rosalind. So we see that soliloquy is there. If we are talking about the devices used in this, is in Shakespearean plays we find monologues and soliloquies are there. In plays mostly we find that there are monologues, soliloquies. These devices are used very effectively and very often. Not that poetry doesn't uses these devices. There are monologues and soliloquies in poetries and novels, but we see that plays play with the literary devices quite often. Oxymoron is here and soliloquy is here, where we see Biron talking about his feelings and the change of his feelings. Now with this, the act third completes. To give it a finishing touch, we can add one more line, that so far king and his attendants were feeling that love is a destructive force, because it is going to disturb their entire plan of studying and emphasizing the intellectual plan of just devoting all these 3 years to study. Love can be that destructive force for this plan. But ultimately we see in this act that he resigns himself to love, because he says, I have no control over it and I want to share my feelings to Rosalind. Here it is clearly told by the writer to the readers that by the end of Act 3, by the closure of Act 3, we see 2 official people falling in love with their respective ladies, especially one from the king and his 3 lords or attendants, that is Biron, right? Okay, so with this we finish the Act 3. Now we'll be starting Act 4 in the next video. Thank you.